Can you sell your parents' house without having to go through the probate process in Georgia? Let's talk about that. If you're dealing with the loss of a loved one right now, you're probably hoping that the answer is yes. After all, probate can take anywhere from 1 to 2 years. It is completely public and it can cost a family thousands of dollars. But here's the thing, whether or not you need probate doesn't actually depend on the will. It depends on how the deed is titled, and that's where most families don't realize that it's just too late. So in this video, I am going to walk through exact scenarios in which you can skip the probate process in Georgia and the ones by where you just can't. And by the end, you'll know exactly what applies to your particular situation. Understanding how the probate process really works in Georgia. All right, so let's start with the good news. There are actually several ways to avoid probate when it comes to real estate in Georgia. The key is understanding how your parents held the title to that property. Because in Georgia, the way the deed is written, it determines everything. Now, most people think, well, my parents had a will, so we're good, right? Not quite. A will actually guarantees you're going to go through the probate process. The will just tells the probate court who gets what, but you still have to go through the court process. Therefore, if you want to avoid it altogether, you need the specific setups on the deeds itself. So let me break them down for you. The 4 ways to avoid probate in Georgia. There are 4 main ways, actually 3 if it includes a house, but there's 4 main ways to avoid probate in Georgia. Way number 1 is joint tenancies with rights of survivorship. This is the most common one, and it's especially for married couples. If your parents own the home as joint tenants with rights of survivorship, and that exact phrase needs to be in the deed, then when one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse automatically inherits the other 50% of the house. No probate is needed. You just need to take the death certificate to the courthouse, and they may make you sign an affidavit, but they can update the records. But if the deed just says tenants in common, you will have to go through probate. I've seen married couples get hung up with titles that are taken this way. It actually causes extra unnecessary work and expense because they have to go through the probate process on the deceased spouse's estate. And here's the thing, if you're a single parent and you're thinking, I'm about to add my child to the deed as a joint tenant with rights of survivorship, hold on. There could be major tax implications for your child when you pass away. We've done videos on this about cost basis, so you can check those out on why you should not add your child to the deed while you're alive. So check that out. Way number 2 is a transfer upon death deed. As of July 2024, Georgia now allows something that's called a transfer upon death deed. This allows you to name a beneficiary on the deed while you're still alive. You get to keep full ownership and control of the property, but when you pass away, the property automatically goes to the person you name. But here's the catch. That person or that beneficiary has 9 months to go to the courthouse and claim that deed. If they wait 9 months and a day, that property will go through the probate process. So that deed is not a set it and forget it kind of strategy. You have to stay on top of it. Way number 3, trust. The third way you can avoid probate in Georgia is by putting the property into a trust. Now, there's a lot of different trusts out there, and this video is not going to go through the many different ways you can set up a trust and what they are for and whether or not you are the trustee or you're naming somebody else to be a trustee. That's where you really need to go get with an attorney who handles trusts and get all that stuff figured out. Also, a lot of people out there who assume that trusts are just for the wealthy families, but that isn't true. It can cost some money up front, but it saves the heirs or the trustee a headache on the back end. So the trust keeps the estate private, it avoids probate, and makes things much easier for your loved ones. What you do is you transfer the property into the trust while you're alive. You're still in control, depending on the type of trust. You can sell it, you can refinance it, whatever you want to do. But when you pass away, the property goes directly to your beneficiaries without going through probate. However, you must fund the trust. You can't just set the trust up and leave it hanging out over here. You actually have to transfer the deed into the trust's name. If you forget to fund it, that property still goes through probate. Way number 4. This is the beneficiary or designation of small estates. If the total estate is under a certain value, Georgia does have a simplified process. It's called a small deposit only affidavit or no administrator needed. And this only works if the estate is small and there's no disputes. If there is family conflict, or if the estate is larger, and if you have a house, it's going through probate. When you can't avoid probate in Georgia. Now, let's talk about when you can't avoid the probate. If your parents' house is titled in just their names, no joint tenancy, no transfer upon death deed, no trust, then yes, you're going to go through probate. Even if there is a will, even if everyone in the family agree, the law requires it. The probate court needs to legally transfer ownership from your deceased parent to the heirs. And without a court order, you cannot sell the house. You can't refinance it. You can't even legally make decisions about it. Therefore, in this situation, the best thing you can do is get started as soon as possible. Hire a probate attorney who specializes in Georgia probate law. Now, I know that this is overwhelming, and you're dealing with a lot of family dynamics, and you've got a lot of legal paperwork on top of everything else. That's exactly why, as a real estate agent, I specialize in helping families like yours. I've worked dozens of families through this process, and I know how to make it as smooth as possible. The biggest mistakes most people make going through the probate process in Georgia. Here is what most people get wrong. They wait until after their parents pass away to go figure all this stuff out, but the time is to handle this right now while your parents are still alive. Go look to see how their deed is titled. If it's not set up to avoid probate, get it fixed now. It's a simple process that an attorney can help you out with, and it can save your family thousands of dollars and months of stress. And if your parents have already passed away, don't try to do this alone. Probate real estate is a whole other different animal from a normal sale, and you really need an agent like me who specializes in this kind of thing to help guide you along the way. Who you choose really matters. All right, let's do a little recap. If you're married, you want to look in to make sure that you got that joint tenancy with rights of survivorship. You can avoid probate. Look into perhaps setting up a transfer upon death deed. No probate required, but you got to watch that 9-month deadline. Look into creating a trust. There's absolutely no probate on a trust. If it is funded, make sure you title the house from your name to the trust. Bottom line, if the house is titled just in their name and they don't have these special things set up, you're going to go through probate. Look, I know this is a lot, and if you're going through this right now, I want to help you out. I've put together a free ebook that walks you through the 7 biggest mistakes family makes during the probate process and how to avoid them. It has many checklists and timelines out there for you as well. And the key thing is it's there to help protect your family. So just go click the link to below and I'll send it straight into your inbox. And if you are in Georgia and you need help selling your property, reach out. I specialize in this. I've helped families just like yours navigate the probate process, get the house ready, and close without all the drama. My contact information is in the description below. And if this video helped you, please subscribe, hit that bell, give me a thumbs up. I drop new videos weekly around probate, estate planning, and protecting your family's legacy right here in Georgia. Until next time, take care of yourself and your family. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.